Well, welcome to the 700 Club. On this program, Lorie Johnson is going to tell you how to prevent a serious infection from a coronavirus. I know you don't want to miss it. Okay. Now, Washington State is now in the crosshairs of the coronavirus, where 2 patients have died over the weekend. Officials are saying the virus could have been spreading there for weeks undetected. How could that happen? And what is the government doing to stop it? George Thomas has more.
The number of cases in the U.S. jumped from 65 to 88 over the weekend, with 2 deaths reported in Washington State. Officials there saying the coronavirus may have been spread undetected for weeks, possibly infecting hundreds of people. The 2 men in Washington State, one in his 50s, the other in his 70s, both had underlying health conditions. The CDC now dispatching teams to an elderly care center where the initial outbreak was reported. 13 states across the country, including New York, Florida, California, and Arizona, reporting cases of the coronavirus.
The message is be careful and be vigilant, but don't panic.
Vice President Mike Pence sending a similar message, warning Americans to prepare for more cases, but insists the risks remain low.
But it's not my confidence. It is the confidence of all of our health experts, who are widely regarded as the best in the world.
Still, the virus continues to grow around the world, with numbers of new cases exploding in South Korea. Health officials in the capital Seoul going floor by floor, disinfecting shops as hundreds of people line up for hours to buy masks. The numbers infected in Italy and France also jumped over the weekend. Staff at the iconic Louvre in Paris forced to close its doors. Even Pope Francis, appearing a little under the weather, told the faithful at the Vatican Sunday that he had to cancel a week-long spiritual retreat.
Unfortunately, my cold means I won't be able to participate this year.
Meanwhile, a number of travelers from Italy and France apparently spreading the virus to other parts of Europe and the Middle East. Indonesia reported its first 2 cases on Monday. The president there saying they've been getting ready should the virus spread more widely.
More than 100 hospitals have been prepared with isolation rooms for sufferers of COVID-19.
Back here at home, the Department of Health is gearing up to increase testing for the virus.
We now have 75,000 tests available out there in the United States, and over the next week that will expand radically.
The coronavirus has so far infected more than 89,000 people in 60 countries around the world. George Thomas, CBN News.
Well, our health reporter, Lorie Johnson, is going to join us now with more about the risks and how we can protect ourselves. And, Lorie, how extensive is this? How bad is it? What do you think?
Health officials have learned so much recently, and they say if you're in generally good health, you'll probably be just fine if you get the coronavirus. The concern is when generally healthy people give it to people who are generally unhealthy. We're talking about elderly people and people with underlying health problems, like a heart problem or a lung problem.
You told me that nobody under 20 had gotten it yet. Was that a right statement?
In China, the first 72,000 cases were analyzed, and there were 0 deaths in children under age 9, and just a tiny fraction of people under the age of 20 even got it.
Why?
Well, health officials aren't really sure, because usually kids do pick up these viruses. So that's one of the things they're going to be looking at.
Okay. Well, what are the symptoms of this stuff? If you're going to get it, how do you know you've got it?
It's a respiratory disease. Okay. And so we talk about lung problems. So a cough and also shortness of breath and a high fever. A more severe symptom is difficulty breathing. You need to get immediate attention if you're having difficulty breathing.
Well, how will anybody know he's even got it?
So many people don't know they have it. It's so very mild. And so we're seeing, and health officials are saying, maybe in Seattle, what we're seeing is that this original case 6 weeks ago, this man who came in from Wuhan, he ended up being just fine. And it may have been passed around over the last 6 weeks in the Seattle area until it hit a nursing home. And then when it was introduced in the nursing home, now we're seeing a lot of patients in one particular nursing home. And then we do see the other death in the Seattle area of a man who had an underlying health issue.
But the people who've died so far are those who themselves are already sick of something else, an underlying health issue.
Yes, in general, the vast majority, yes.
All right, now let's talk about something that you and I have all been passionate about. How effective is our gut in terms of controlling our immune system? What percentage does it play?
Health experts say 80% of our immune system is in our gut. And we know that our immune system is what fights off these illnesses. And also we know that our immune system starts to deteriorate after age 50. So we really need to boost it.
All right. Now, I want to say that again. 80% of the immune system is in your gut.
That's right. It's because these little bacteria along our gut lining, they produce antibodies that help us fight disease.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have in front of me, I got one of our gentlemen to go out and buy some stuff. These are things that you can get, and you can have a healthy gut. If your gut is healthy, you don't have to worry about corona. Am I saying that right?
Well, some people have such poor immune systems that they need a little extra help.
But I mean, if they have a good gut and they have a good immune system, they don't have to worry about corona.
It's a very good idea to boost that immune system.
80%. All right. Now, let me show you what I've got here. I've got a whole array of things. I asked somebody to go get this for us, Lorie. Now, this is something, Garden of Life. It is called Raw Probiotics. And this thing has 100 billion of those little bugs.
Those little critters. That's the one I take, actually.
Do you?
There are a lot of great probiotics on the market. That's my favorite one.
100 billion. Now, the thing of it is, ladies and gentlemen, when you get these probiotics, these little fellows need to eat something. You know, so, I mean, they really do. I mean, you put them in your stomach and you say, well, what do I do now? Well, you need so-called prebiotic. Now, what do they like to eat? Well, here's something that they like to eat. And what is this?
That's sauerkraut. That's a fermented vegetables. Those have great probiotics.
Great. And so the little critters love to eat this sauerkraut. And this is stuff you put on your hot dogs or whatever you eat. But this is something you can get at the grocery store. All right. Now, here is, you also have said that if you take certain of the artificial sweeteners, it'll hurt the gut flora?
That's correct. And these gut experts say that artificial sweeteners actually cause the bad bacteria to grow in the gut. So we want to stay away from those.
And you're also telling people not to eat trans fats and not to eat sugar and white flour, right?
Absolutely. You're such a good student.
Well, I'm studying this stuff along with you. All right.
What do you need me for? You can do the segment.
I know I can, but you're the expert. So I'm glad. All right. Now, folks, we've got some of the things that you can do. Now, this is a probiotic. This is called kimchi. This is something that they used to have in Korea. It was and it's called probiotic. Why is kimchi good?
This is one of the best probiotics out there. I eat kimchi every single day because it's fermented. This has the live bacteria in it. And we should be eating these probiotics every single day, either in our food or through supplements or both.
Kimchi. You can get this at a grocery store. Probiotic. And all right. So why not eat sauerkraut? This is good. I mean, you know, you put this on all kinds of stuff. And this is the kind of sauerkraut is a good prebiotic. Now, there's something else. I used to think sweet and low was a good thing. Now I've learned that sweet and low will kill your gut flora, and as will Splenda and certainly stevia. No, not stevia, but
of all the sweeteners, stevia, artificial sweeteners, low-calorie sweeteners, stevia is probably the best.
This is, I've never used it this way before, but this is, actually you can get a medicine dropper, and they have just a tiny, this stevia is so incredibly sweet. Now, this does not hurt your your gut flora.
That's correct. And a little goes a long way.
Oh, just a tiny little bit. I mean, a little stevia. And this is a medicine dropper worth of the stuff. Now, there's something else these little gut things like, and that is yogurt.
Yogurt. Now, yogurt has the good bacteria in it. You have to be careful with yogurt because sometimes it's high in sugar.
All right, well, you've got to have non-sugar, non-sweet yogurt. And this is Fudgy, 2%. Okay. So you can get yogurt. And what else have we got here?
Beans, those are good fiber. That's what the bacteria love to eat is fiber.
All right, here are pinto beans. You can get this at a grocery store. Feed your little probiotic. Those little critters need food, and you can eat beans. I like beans.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I love your bean soup.
Oh, that's the
And
greatest.
it's so healthy.
Yeah. All right, and these are something else. These are the kind of, well, just... These are black-eyed peas. You can soak them in some water. That's good for you.
Great fiber and cheap. So who says you have to spend a lot of money to eat healthy?
All right, black-eyed peas, you can get them like this and cook them yourself. And here's some of them. They have them in a can. This is Bush's Great Northern Beans. Again, no sweetener, good for your gut.
Good stuff.
You're going to keep people so healthy, they'll be screaming with joy. What have I got here? This is a prebiotic. I don't know who.
That's the prebiotic supplement in a powder form, so you can feed your good bacteria with a supplement as well as food. And that's one of the prebiotic supplements.
Remember, the little bugs need to feed on something. The prebiotic feeds them. Now, if you get your gut going right, what's it going to do for you?
Well, it's one of the best ways to prevent getting sick and to maintain good health, even good brain health. They've associated with good gut health with a reduced risk of some of our major killers like Alzheimer's, cancer, and heart disease.
Well, some of the others that you read about, there are all kinds of problems in our guts that are caused because we don't have the proper probiotics. What are some of the symptoms of the things that take place? I mean, like irritable bowel syndrome and things like that.
That's right. So many of the not only gut problems that we have, but we definitely know that irritable bowel syndrome, like you suggested, may be the result of an unhealthy gut flora. And so this is something that everyone can do through supplements and through food.
Now, folks, we're going to give you something. We love to give things away. This is called Build a Better Gut. I had more response for this than anything we have ever offered in the history of CBN because people want to stay healthy. We'll give this to you free. All you have to do is call in and say 1-800-700-7000. Please send me the free booklet, and we'll send it to you because you get all this stuff together and you make sure you're drinking, sweetening with stevia, not Splenda and those other things. And you're not drinking diet drinks, and you're not drinking Cokes, and you're not drinking 32-ounce Cokes, and you're not having trans fats, and all that stuff, and you're not going to be sick from the coronavirus. That's what's so important.
Indeed, and this is a great way for us to take control of our own health and do everything we can to minimize the risk.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here. I want you to be healthy because you're important to the Lord and important to us, and we like to have a nice big audience of people who are healthy who love Jesus. We'll give this to you. Build a Better Gut. It's free. All you have to do is call in, and it'll give you the answer we've been talking about here. You've seen all these things. But just think of this. You can go to the health food store and get Garden of Life, and they'll have 1 billion of these little critters will get into your gut and make you healthy. 1 billion of them.
That's good stuff.
That's a whole lot of little critters.
It is. And we got to keep them alive, too.
I want to keep them alive, keep feeding them with all this kombucha and all this other stuff. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us. Remember that number, 1-800-700-7000, and you can get the booklet, Build a Better Gut. Lorie, it's fun. We're going to keep people healthy.
We're going to try.
All right.
God bless you.
God bless you, too. Well, in other news, Joe Biden picks up a tailwind from South Carolina, but is it too late to help him on Super Tuesday? Wendy Griffith has more of that story.
Pat, former Vice President Joe Biden heads into the Super Tuesday primaries with some momentum after dominating the South Carolina primary Saturday. 2 top Democrats, though, dropped out. But the real test comes tomorrow as voters in 14 states cast ballots. Abigail Robertson has this look at the state of the Democratic race.
Voters here in North Carolina, neighboring Virginia, California, and other states are preparing to head to the polls tomorrow. Joe Biden is bringing much-needed momentum to Super Tuesday after delivering his first win in South Carolina.
This campaign is taking off, so join us.
Raising more than $5 million after his Saturday win, Biden's supporters see more good things to come.
I think it's just the momentum. I think it really shows the country that we're on a path to success.
Touting his electability.
He's the only candidate that can beat Donald Trump.
Heading into South Carolina, billionaire Tom Steyer told CBN News he was optimistic.
I'm feeling great.
But after a third-place finish where he put his major efforts, Steyer called it quits, as did Mayor Pete Buttigieg, who was in third place in the national delegate count behind Bernie Sanders and Biden, but couldn't see a clear path to victory.
I will no longer seek to be the 2020 Democratic nominee for president, but I will do everything in my power to ensure that we have a new Democratic president come January.
As the field narrows, Steyer and Buttigieg's exits could be troubling for Bernie Sanders.
I'm just not confident, number one, that he can beat Donald Trump, just flat out, and he didn't resonate with me.
Many of their former supporters tell CBN News they're wary of his plans like Medicare for All.
Don't throw us in a system if we don't want it.
The Biden campaign stands ready to expand their base.
And we are very much alive.
But for the most part, willing to back the eventual nominee.
We're all going to come together as Democrats and support the ticket.
More than a third of all the total delegates up for grabs will be awarded on Super Tuesday. For candidates who don't win a sizable portion of those delegates, this could be the end of the line. Reporting from Charlotte, North Carolina, Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
Thanks, Abby. Pat, do you think Biden can keep his momentum going?
I really think he does. But I tell you what, once they start bringing up the gaffes, and he has dozens of them, he's going to, you know, I'm afraid fade, including they've got that son of his with the Burisma thing, and Hunter Biden, and they brought that all out in those impeachment hearings, but nobody's heard anything about it. I'm happy to see Joe. Joe's a nice guy, you know. I really like him. I have known him for a long time. He's a nice guy, and I think people respond to him. And
he's the only one not touting socialism in the Democratic Party. So
well, Frank Luntz is such a great pollster, has said the reason that the young people go for Bernie Sanders is because he acts as if he's authentic. And he says some of the others act like they were cast by some image maker, and Bernie, to them, looks authentic. They're not even considering all of these insane spending concepts that he's... You know, we showed the other day that his spending was going to talk over 10 years was $60 trillion, and it would bankrupt America and take away Medicare from people and take away health insurance from the seniors. And the seniors don't like that. But the young people think, that, according to Luntz, he is authentic. Well, Joe Biden has scored a big one in South Carolina. That's a big one. And, of course, tomorrow is a whole lot of those delegates up for grabs. And I don't know if Biden's going to be able to match Bernie Sanders out in California and Texas and these other big states, but we'll see and we'll watch it. But Trump keeps rolling ahead. And the other thing we want to turn to is that over in Israel they have been deadlocked between Benny Gantz and the Blue and White Party. Benny's a friend of mine, a good guy, and Bibi Netanyahu is also a friend of mine and a good guy. And he's been commissioned to form a government, and there's a small group of radicals who want to control the destiny, and they want to give privileges to the Orthodox that a whole lot of the voters don't want. And so it's very hard for Bibi Netanyahu to embrace these people because it would send shockwaves. I mean, they don't want the Orthodox to have to serve in the military and do certain things. and the vast majority of Israelis want them to. So anyhow, we'll be watching that, and Wendy has more on that story. Wendy.
That's right, Pat. It's Election Day in Israel again. More than 4 million voters are expected to go to the polls today, trying to break a 12-month stalemate that has forced 3 elections in the past year. As Chris Mitchell explains, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's Likud party may be positioned to break that deadlock.
Israel's election-weary voters began showing up early Monday morning. The now familiar posters highlight the choices from the past 2 campaigns, Netanyahu and his challenger, Benny Gantz. Despite voter fatigue and fears about the coronavirus, many experts are predicting a decent turnout. Israelis usually vote in big numbers. Last September, it was nearly 70%. This weekend, Netanyahu was busy stumping for last-minute votes at Mahane Yehuda, Jerusalem's famous marketplace.
It's a proud day. This is a democracy. You have a great right that you should exercise with confidence.
Netanyahu changed strategies this election. Instead of spending big money on advertising, Likud focused on turnout, urging 300,000 Likud voters who stayed home last time to get back to the polls.
And we've kind of taken over in the last week and a half. I believe that Netanyahu's strategy has really shown results, and I hope that the ultimate result, the result of the elections, will prove that he was correct.
Blue and white party leader Benny Gantz addressed his supporters at a large rally in Tel Aviv. He stressed 2 major themes this campaign. Netanyahu is unfit for office, and Gantz leads the party that can deliver hope to Israel.
Of course, I support myself, but I respect any decision of any voter. It's about time that we'll be much more united.
With the fate in the hands of the voters, both Netanyahu and Gantz will begin planning for 2 scenarios, forming a government or bracing for another election. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Big day and a lot at stake for Israel, Pat.
Well, we're hoping for the best because we love Israel and we love the people, and they'll come up. But these little splinter parties, that's what happens when you have a parliamentary type of system, and you have to rely on fractional votes to get your guy elected. We do have 2 major parties here, and they seem to be working pretty well.